Woo! Hey everybody, sorry I'm a little late. I just got home from a full day of work and it was a little hectic to say the least. You guys know last time I went live in the group, I told you all that the beginning of the year is when everybody's trying to fill those new positions and is trying to kind of set up the way that they want the new year to go. And so, of course, with that, lo and behold, like I said, all these new positions open up at my company. So it's been a little bit of a crazy day. And I did, of course, I hope you did get to tune into my last live where, of course, I was talking about great ways to make 2019 your best career year ever, and 5 different ways that you could do certain things to improve your year. So that being said, I wanted to preface that because, of course, there are a lot of great things about there are a lot of things that you want to achieve and that you want to do, and those are all great things. But if you have some limiting beliefs about yourself or the job market or maybe that position that you want, it's really going to hinder you from achieving those big goals, even if you did do all those 5 steps. So today I'm going to chat just with you briefly about a couple of the limiting beliefs that I've seen with people that I work with, or even in myself at times too. So I did want to just address this with you guys so that you guys don't fall down this kind of, pit where you can't get out of it because you're just having this negative cognitive cycle, and I don't want you guys to go through that and have to deal with that. So let's get started. So I did want to just preface this by saying that the reason that this came up for me and why it was important for me to do is I had read this book. It's called The Great Leap. And one of the biggest things that I got out of this was that he asked you, how good are you willing to let your life get? How good are you willing to allow yourself to be? And how happy are you willing to allow yourself to be? And so when we don't really challenge ourselves with that, we don't push ourselves to the limit, or we kind of tell the universe or whatever your personal beliefs are, you kind of tell people that it's not for you just based upon your own beliefs. So I wanted to address this because if you have any of these limiting beliefs that you're actively thinking about on a daily basis when you're doing your job search or you're trying to get that promotion or whatever it might be, if you have these limiting beliefs, you have to ask yourself, is this challenging me to be better? Is this challenging myself and really helping me push the limits of how happy am I willing to be in my life, in my career, as far as pursuing my goals? So that's really what this means to me. And so I've put, of course, all these resources out there, including my last live, so that there's a way for you guys to continually improve and get better. And if you don't have that all together, you might have that all together. You might have finished all of that, the action plan, and you might have a good plan for 2019. But if you have these limiting beliefs, you're not going to get there. So it's time for us to attack these self-sabotaging, limiting beliefs that we all might have, or I have them too. Sometimes I have to address them with myself. So let's get past this, and we're going to address them now. So my first one that I often see is that I'm not qualified for this position because blank. So why do you think you're not, why do you think you're not qualified for this position? So some people say it's my skill set, like I don't have the right skills or experience for this position, or maybe there's other candidates out there who are better than me that, of course they're going to get the job. And, that's really limiting because who's to say that you're not a perfect fit for this position? Maybe that recruiter, maybe that hiring manager is looking specifically for your experience. So a lot of times I see people like, well, I don't really have project management experience, so I can't qualify for this role because that was in the qualifications. And the truth is, a lot of times, even hiring managers who hire people all the time, sometimes they don't even know what they want until they see it. And so that's the opportunity for you to make sure that you get in there and you really address what they really want and what values you bring. Sometimes there's been positions even created for people in the company that I currently work for just because they offer a skill set that the employer didn't know that they needed. So my answer to you is really, don't focus on what you think you don't have, focus on what you do have. And it's a possibility that that position might be for you, even if you don't think it is. The next one is it's too risky to follow my dreams because, and the interesting thing about that is a lot of the times for me, I did my undergraduate in psychology, and a lot of people said, you can't do psychology. Nobody knows what to do with psychology. And the very interesting fact about that is I know for a fact that that's one of the things that got me into my master's program, because I connected in my admission letter my desire to use psychology in the workplace and improve it, because my understanding of human nature from my undergraduate degree. So there was nowhere in that equation that following my dreams, my love of psychology, limited me in what I was able to do. And for people out there who think, well, I can't follow this thing because I can't follow this dream because it's too risky to do that. Nobody has jobs in that field. Nobody is successful, or there's only 10% of people that are successful. Do not follow. Don't prescribe to that, because all you really need is passion and desire to get things done. And there's nothing that's going to be able to stop you, even if it is a little risky, okay? So just go for it, because if it's for you, it is for you. The next one is I do not have the right connections. And if you've been following me for a while, this is a really bad excuse, because I have told you how to do this. So do not say that you can't get where you need to be because you don't have the old boys network, or you don't have the right connections, or you don't know anybody in that industry, okay? Because there are a lot of people that have created a career or a company or entire industries, and they didn't even know anybody. They went out and made the connection because they had the desire and the passion to pursue what they really love to do. So the first one, first of all, start figuring out how you can meet these people. Start figuring out who you know that might know these people. Just start getting out there, and you'll find out relatively quickly that you do know somebody in that industry and somebody who can help you advance. The next one is my blank situation, whatever that blank is, limits my opportunities. So whether that's a disability, or maybe if you feel like your race might get in the way, a language barrier, your age, or maybe even your appearance gets in the way of the correct opportunities, don't let that stop you either, okay? Because I know, well, one of my friends, she was like, she messaged me and she was like, well, should I wear my natural hair to this job interview, or should I wear like a wig? Because I don't want them to kind of disqualify me for that, because the whole natural hair thing looks unruly. And my answer was to her is, do you care more about this position, or do you care more about yourself? And do you care that the company that you work for might disqualify you as a very qualified candidate just because you have natural hair, or maybe they're even biased? And my point was, I would never want to work at a company that I can't fully be myself, and whatever it might be, or if they discriminate against that, you kind of believing that that's a limiting factor. It's really not. It's a factor for you to be able to make a decision. So if there's a company out there that can't accommodate you for the person that you are, along with your qualifications and your skill set, that's not the company you should be at. And so use that as an eliminator for you. It's not about them, it's about you. Because if somebody is out there and they don't like this trait about you, then you can't work with them. You can't be successful there. It's not for you, okay? And so as sad as that sounds, like people use it as a limiting factor, across the board. No, there's somebody who will appreciate you despite whatever you think is your limiting factor. So my point is, it's not a limiting factor. Go forth and be successful anyway. The next one is I need blank before I can make a change. So some people might say I need more stability in my life before I move to a new position or a new career, or I need more money or more experience, or and what that says to me is I need to waste more time. I need to waste more time doing something I don't want to do. I need to waste more time doing other things that aren't as important because I have to do this first. And that is the craziest thing to hear from me, because if you know what you want, there's nothing that should get in the way of that. And if you're really going along the right path, all those things will fall in place before that. So you never know, switching jobs, you might find out that it's a more stable job, and wherever you go, or maybe the new career is a more stable thing, or maybe you end up getting more money in a new job offer, or you get new experiences that you didn't think you were going to have, or more training that you weren't going to have that's going to prepare you for that role. So please don't limit yourself because you think you're not ready for it. Make sure you embrace that and stop wasting time in that blank. Stability is a blank, money is a blank, and experience is a blank. Just keep going. And the next one, this is one of my biggest pet peeves that I find in people who, especially people who want to move up. So the sixth one is blank is not in my job description. So I hear so many people, especially individuals who want to kind of move up in leadership or become, a manager or something like that. They always say, well, it's not in my job description to do that yet, so I'm not going to do it. And a lot of that times where it comes up is, oh, I need you to do this. I just really need this. So-and-so can't do that. Can you help me out with that? And, they complain about it and say, well, that's not my job title, and I'm not paid enough to do that, and blah, blah, blah. And guess what you're doing? You're telling them that you're not available to do that. You're telling them that they can't depend on you to do that. And the best way to show that you're available and you have the potential to do something is to do it, and do it well, and do it in such a surprising way that you're the next right person for that position. And I've seen it done both ways. And what I can tell you is, don't limit yourself by saying, that's not in my job description. That's not my responsibility. Make it your responsibility and do it better than the person who was supposed to do it. And guess where you'll be, excuse me. My next one is blank set me up to fail. Oh my gosh, I see this all the time. This person said, oh, I got a comment. So how do you distinguish between that and an employer taking advantage of you? So I would say I know that there's several individuals from personal experience in my company who've been kind of that entry-level individual. And you have to be able to kind of discern that in your company, because I know that there's room for these individuals to be promoted. I know that there's positions open. So I can definitely say without a doubt that I've seen my particular company do it time and time again, promote people who have shown that they have the ability to lead. And I would say that a lot of the time it's been temporary employees promoted into leadership positions in my company. So you really have to look at the track record of the particular employer and see if they are consistent in making promotions and recognizing good behavior, I guess, so to speak. So if they're not recognizing that in you or other people, then that's the way to kind of distinguish whether they're taking advantage of you or not. Cool. I hope that answered your question, Delana. So I was talking about blank set me up to fail. So I see this a lot when people think that people are out to get them in their roles, or people are doing things maliciously, and that might be the case. Somebody may be setting you up to fail, but one of the best things that showed me is kind of, the best revenge is, succeeding and stuff like that. And so that's why I make sure that whenever I feel like I have personally been set up to fail, as though somebody's given me a task and I'm not able to complete realistically, I make sure that I do it to the best of my ability to prove a point, okay? Just to prove a point that I can do what you thought I couldn't do, or that you wanted me to fail so I looked bad, or maybe I didn't achieve my goal. So what I'm saying to you is, don't let the thought that somebody else is out to get you keep you from where you want to be. If you continue to show up and show out and do the best that you can as a person and an employee, or whatever that might be, a manager, if you continue to excel, there's nobody who can set you up to fail, because you'll continually succeed. The next one is, I won't find a job. I think that this is out there for a lot of people, a huge concern. And I was talking about that earlier with me pursuing my psychology degree, and a lot of people think, oh, well, there's just not enough jobs for people who have psychology degrees. There's not enough places to go. And it goes back to the point that if you know what you're supposed to do, if you're passionate about your role, your job, even if it's not something that seems like it provides job security or is a very lucrative position up front, you can advance and you can grow. So don't limit yourself by saying, I won't find a job, or there's no jobs, or it's really hard to job hunt, or there's no companies out there who really do what I want, or who are hiring for what I want to do. Like I said, if you have a great skill set and you bring a lot to the table, just based upon you and your work ethic and everything like that, like I said, you will find the right position no matter what. The next one is a job is just a job. So it's really discouraging for me, because I personally prescribe to the idea that people should love their jobs and they should be passionate about what they do, because I am. So it's really hard for me to look at somebody who just thinks a job is a job and, they're here to get a paycheck and everything like that, because I don't think that's any, way to live. 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, or maybe even more if you're working overtime, or everything like that. That's a huge chunk of your life to not enjoy, to not love, to not be happy about what you're doing. So it really does make me so sad when people don't really enjoy what they're doing or enjoy the people that they're working with, and there's not some gratifying part of their job. And so what I mean by that is that don't have a job to have a job and think that because of that there's no room for advancement or growth or for a change. Okay, people make the excuse that a job is just a job, so why not this one? I will not find a job that I really love, so I'm just going to stay here and continue doing what I'm doing even though I'm not happy. So that is one of the things I really just want to encourage you, because you can get a paycheck from somewhere that you like working, and it's not a necessary evil. It's something that you can, feel gratitude for being important and working with others and, loving that type of atmosphere, as well as getting a paycheck. So that's my number 10. And number 11 is that my job comes before this. So my job comes before my family or my own happiness, and or my job comes before my own personal development in life, my own professional development in life. And yeah, your job is important. Your job, like I said, it's a huge chunk of your life, but it's not the only thing in life. And so if there's, something that's stressing you out and you're working too much and you're working too hard and you're unhappy, and your spouse or your significant other is unhappy, then you got to think about it and say, is this job really worth it? Is this job worth the lost memories and the wasted time and the frustration? And I don't think it is. I think that there are other more important things in life that we all have to prioritize and think about. And so if you think that your job is your life and that there's nothing else out there for you, I want to challenge that belief and say there's definitely a workplace, there's definitely an employer, a position that you can have the best of both worlds. You can have good work-life balance and have it all. So that's my next one. And my last one is that you've mastered your position. So people use this as an excuse to not grow, to not advance, to not gain new skills or new experiences or work on new projects. And I've seen that. I did see that we were hiring a sales rep. And she was like, well, this sounds like a really great opportunity and I'd love to learn this. And, I only sell one thing at my current job and I would really, really love to just learn something new. And she was so interested in the position, and probably would have been amazing in the position, but she decided she declined the offer because she didn't want to make a change and have to deal with the financial instability of a salesperson in your job. And I completely understand that there are, of course, commitments. that you have to meet for your family financially or otherwise. But it is something to think about is, are you really limiting yourself and living a good life and having a great career and loving what you do for other things because you've mastered where you are, and that's the safe place. So I just want to encourage you to always challenge yourself, always be looking for the next best thing, the next coolest thing, the next thing you can learn, how you can advance, because the saddest part about that is, if you don't continue to learn, then it's possible that you won't have your position in the future because you feel like you've mastered this position, but there's more out there, right? It's kind of like the person who, worked on a certain type of computer and they no longer sell that type of computer. Well, you didn't learn anything to advance to get to another level, to learn a new skill, and so you're suddenly out of a job and kind of in that unstable place anyway. So my last one is that even if you've mastered your position or your role, continue to grow, continue to learn, and pursue new things and challenges. So that's all of my limiting beliefs that I've heard or that I've heard from in my current position, or from friends, or even some people who I've interacted with in HR for millennials. I hope that you take these and you challenge yourself on a daily basis of, am I limiting myself in that? Am I not allowing myself to live my best life, right? Am I not allowing my life to get as good as it could be, or allow my career to be as successful as it could be? Oh, I'm reading Talana's comment. It says, I just read in a book that if you consider yourself an expert at anything, consider yourself outdated just because the availability of information. That's true. Because I even think in my own, in my own career, one of the things that's always changing, that you always have to stay with the times, so to speak, is one of them is employment law. So there's always employment law changing, and so I have to constantly make sure that I'm aware of all of these changes. And even people who are individuals who have been, HR professionals for 20, 30 years, they have to constantly make sure that they're, getting recertified and, making sure they're notified of changing laws, because a lot of that, it has huge ramifications if you don't keep up that, you could basically be out of a job for not having up-to-date information. So thank you for that, Talana. That's definitely true. It's just because you're now not an expert because you're only an expert in this one area and you've limited yourself. So thanks for that. But I do hope that you do challenge yourself to think about these limiting beliefs in your life and what you are allowing yourself to not reach the next level, not succeed, not be successful, not reach your dreams because these things are holding you back. So for those of you who are watching, please let me know which self-sabotaging beliefs that you have seen in yourself, or things that you'll address with your own self to make sure that you're not allowing yourself to be limited by these. And I hope to see you for the next live. So thank you so much. Bye.